It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I had the privilege to interview the Nebraska Kearney head diving coach, Coach Becky O'Connell. How are you doing today?
Hey, I'm doing great. And it's Kearney, University of Nebraska at Kearney. So, and everywhere we go, they say it wrong, but we're Kearney, Nebraska. Yeah.
Oh.
And yes, I'm Becky O'Connell. And I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to get started in coaching in collegiate athletics?
Okay. Well, I'm going to be honest with you, Brandon. I have coached club for a long time, club swimming, and loved it and have had a great time coaching all the way from little tiny kids to masters. And then I was very blessed to be able to do our Kearney High school team for 16, 17 years, quite a while. And my kids all swam. So it was literally a joy to be involved with what they did. And competing and taking them everywhere because they swam both club and high school. So it was a lot of fun. Then I decided in 2016, my parents were older and that I was going to get off the 90 to 100 hour week merry-go-round with I taught third grade for 100 years and was coaching both club. And so, had 4 kids of my own, so I decided to retire in 2016. And I knew basically that I was not going to go from the classroom to the golf course. That's not my style, but I had no idea. So you asking me about being I had no idea that I was going to be back in the game coaching at this level. My athletic director, it was his first year, and he also was the PE teacher at my elementary school. So that's how I knew. That was how he knew to get a hold of me. We don't live in a huge community, and there's not probably, there's a handful of us that are interested in swimming and diving. And so when he called me, it was an interesting call. I'll have to be honest with you, Brandon. Because I work with a lot of like triathletes on the swimming part of their race. And so I was assuming that he was asked, wanting to know how to swim, better. And he's a wrestler, but that wasn't it. He was offering me a job. And so I can remember him saying, just don't say no, Becky, just don't say no. So I said, I've got to think about it. And I'm a faith-based gal, faith-based program. So I need to pray a little bit. And within a day and a half, I knew that I was ready to accept the challenge, the opportunity, we'll put it that way, the opportunity to get in there and help this program develop into what it should be.
What was that experience like getting to work with the greater Nebraska swimming team?
You know what? I've loved the opportunity to do that. Like I said, we have all the way from little kids, 4 or 5-year-olds that can make it across the pool to older kids. I've been able to work with, as you've mentioned here, got to go to the Omaha Cup. That's another one where it was just taking kids to sectionals, doing all kinds of meets like that, allowing our kids in Kearney, because we put together the Greater Nebraska team. So we've got kids from all over the state. So it's led to a lot of opportunities for our athletes to do higher level meets. That makes sense.
Of course, how's that been like, obviously working with those pre-athletes and those pre-Olympians?
Well, it's great. I guess I look at every athlete as, what potential do they have? How can I help them achieve their goals? So for me, kids are kids. And even though they're pre-Olympians, they're still athletes and they're still human beings with feelings and tears. And so at every level, I've been able to adapt to whatever level I am involved with.
What was your experience like, obviously getting to work on the high school level and getting to coach high school swimming?
Yeah, I love that. I guess, Brandon, I'm going to be honest with you that building teams and building culture is a strength for me. So our high school team was struggling. So getting in there, I was able to build the team, and you're working with both young ladies and young men. And so, and people would ask me, how can you teach third grade all day and then go to the high school team? And you know what? The high schoolers are just a little taller, Brandon. That's all. So it's all people, it's all connections. So I loved high school, and I loved getting on that bus and traveling with our kids. We live in a community where we did get to travel, where our two metro areas, Lincoln and Omaha, they don't. They sleep in their own bed. They drive their own cars to the meet. So it's a different experience when you actually travel with, and you got 60 kids, with you, 30 female and 30 male, or whatever the number is. But really had a lot of fun at those meets and traveling all over the state. I truly enjoyed it.
What was that balance like, obviously, as you said, teaching elementary, but also coaching on the high school level?
Yeah, it was just, like I said, you're just kind of shifting gears. But those high school kids were so glad to see me after school. I've always had, or my goal is always to have fun, practice. And I don't mean fun, Brandon. I mean practice that they look forward to coming to. It's going to be hard. It's going to be challenging, but you're working with your teammates and you're working to achieve goals, prepare ourselves for meets. So I've always looked at, no matter what age I'm working with, that, to have fun when we're there together.
What was that feeling like going from the high school level to the collegiate level and going to Nebraska Kearney?
I would say that, to sum it up, when you're a third grade teacher, you're helping them learn how to keep their desk clean and all that. If you can remember back that far, Brandon. And then high school, you're helping them be successful in their classes and be organized enough to be able to travel. I mean, there's a lot of working pieces. Now my calling is to help young ladies move into the next step of their lives. And so I've really enjoyed that, and I'm not going to call it a challenge, an opportunity to help them. I've got 4 kids of my own, so I've seen the process, but between the years of being, 17, 18 and 22, 23, we change, we mature, we grow up a lot. So it's fun to see that and how they get back to the team and how they can develop their leadership skills, their sportsmanship skills, all of that. So I've really enjoyed the college level.
What was that feeling like when you got to join the coaching staff for Nebraska Kearney and become a diving coach?
You know what? Swimming and diving are like 2 different entities, but they're in the same sport. So I did diving with Kearney High. I had a diving team there, and I really respect the sport. It's just totally different than swimming. And so you're always working with trying to kind of balance out, whether it be practice, whether it be personalities. Divers are, first of all, swimmers and divers are both, especially the athletes I'm working with now, are really, really smart. And they like to be perfect, and we're not always perfect. So, and divers especially like to be perfect. So I've worked with helping them accept kind of where we are with things and how we can try new dives, and they're not going to be perfect. It's a little bit different than swimming, where we're trying to build our muscles and get stronger and keep our shoulders. Here, you're trying to achieve harder, more complicated dives, and that can be scary. So I just try to be there. I'm lucky that I have a diving coach right now. I've not always had a diving coach, so I've been in the realm of actually coaching diving. But it really does help, especially at this level, to have a diving graduate assistant, because he knows he can get them to do things. I can judge them, if that makes sense. I can tell you what I like and what I don't like. I can't always fix it. So that's really been helpful. But I love our divers. Not every swimming and program has diving. So I'm really appreciative to get to work with those young ladies.
What does a typical meet look like on the diving side for Nebraska Kearney?
What does a meet look like?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a competition. Well, we compete on both the 1 meter and the 3 meter. So those are 2 different, 2 different types of boards, and it changes the sport a little bit, but we usually do the max of dives that they can do is 11. So we either have 11 dive meet or we have a 6 dive meet. And so the 6 dive is when kind of at the beginning of the season when you're working on dives, and then we move into where we compete on, more dives. And there's a degree of difficulty. I'm not sure if you're familiar with diving, But, and I used to, in high school, have this issue with high school girls is they could do easy dives really well, but sometimes weren't willing to move into the harder dives. And unless you're willing to move into those and try those, you're never going to score high enough to do very well. So I really work with my athletes to try step outside the box. You know, if you can do a 1.5, let's try a double. You know, let's, just try to, there's ways that you can have your dive list be more complicated, therefore you score better.
Of course, on a typical swim meet, as a diving coach, what is it like obviously seeing our divers achieve those great milestones in their career?
Well, I'm very excited for them and very happy for them. And I take great pride in it as well as they do. And I just feel like we work together as a team, and especially got a few really, really good divers. So our next season is going to be a lot of fun. They've made a lot of progress this year is what I'm saying.
What are some of the game day routines and rituals like for the swimming and diving program?
Yeah, I read this one to my team this morning when they were practicing, and the first thing they said is we wear face tattoos, with the loper hat on it. So that's one of our routines is they get in and warm up and then they all put their tattoo. We do a team cheer, we have team chants. Let me just say this, Brandon, when the lopers are in the house, everybody knows it. We are a very fun, active team on the side. It doesn't matter whether it's the 50 freestyle or the 1650 where they're swimming a mile or diving. We are there 100% helping that person or people through that event that they're doing. Cheering.
Who are some of the teams that you compete against each week?
You know what? I can kind of give you our schedule for next year. We go to Oklahoma City a couple of times. We are going to go to Little Rock, Arkansas, which will be a new place for us. We're going to go through Lenexa, Kansas. Kansas City has a brand new pool, so we're going to be competing there. We also go against the Colorado teams. So Pueblo, Western, Adams State, Colorado School of Mines, and Mesa. Those are in the RMAC. So we host meets because people like our pool. We have a fast pool and great boards. And so we host a 2-day meet in November, and that's a fun one. We have a lot of scrimmages. Our team really, really enjoys the competition of relays. So we work on the 5 different relays and where your position is on each of those. Let me see. We also go to South Dakota, Iowa. So I have a little bit of a luxury because we're in the RMAC and the rest of my college is in the MAIA. So I get to design our schedule. To make a long story short, high school, every year where you're going to be, and if you're at home or away, it's the same schedule every year. But college isn't that way. So this year I'm branching out a little bit. We're going to go to Little Rock. That's one that's going to be fun. We do a training trip. So one year we were in Alaska. That was 2 years ago. And then last year we went to California. And this year we're really looking forward to, and this is not for, we're working on it, but to go down to Florida. And everywhere that we train, we have meets when we go there. So we get to do totally different people there. When we were in California, we're against, Arizona teams, Southern California teams. It was a lot of fun though.
Of course, what is that like, obviously getting to compete against those D1, D2, and even D3 teams in those meets?
Yep. Tough. I started my first year, I had 8 ladies, then I had 11 the next year, 13, 16, and this year I have 34. So if you've watched our roster, it's a numbers game. Okay. You can do a lot with 8 girls, but you can only do so much, so we feel like we're at a much better place. I took on 20 new ladies last year. So it was a big jump for our program. So we like it. We welcome we swam against D1 up in South Dakota. We swam against D1 in California. We like the challenge of that. We're tough. My girls are tough. I'll tell you that. They like to go after it.
What was that experience like, obviously, as you said, getting to hoist a tournament?
Oh, host a tournament. You know what? I run a lot of meets, Brandon, whether they're club or fun meets or scrimmages. So it's great when it goes great, but I've hardly ever been to a meet at my own pool or away that you don't run into some kind of technical glitch or some problem. So I say it's just like hosting a party at your house. You never know when the garbage disposal is going to clog or the toilet's going to. So every one of them, I'm luckily have good people that help me host a meet, because we want to make it fun for the athletes. We want to make it a great experience. So we will try to have everything, run smoothly, but it's like anything. So, but we do host, I don't know. I probably do 15 or 20 a year.
Can you talk about, of course, the culture that you have to build for the swimming and diving program?
I think I've kind of alluded to this, but I guess I could say it in one word: kindness. We really work hard on being a good, close-knit, tight group and a family. Because I coach club, and we've got little kids around, and we've got challenged kids, we've got lots of homeschooling. So the ladies see me in the water a lot, and I would never, ever ask anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do myself. I've always said that. So if something needs to be done, I'll be the first one to have my hand up, and they follow my lead because they are very helpful, very smart, very charismatic. I'm working with a really nice group of young ladies, and it makes it a joy.
What does the recruitment process look like for those prospective student athletes looking to get into collegiate swimming?
I can tell you what ours looks like. I can't tell you about everybody, but I've been through it with my kids. My kids all swam, so I know from being a parent. But I am very, very blessed to work at a very strong, up and coming medical teacher based. Our university offers so many different programs. So I'm going to be honest with you that people contact me, and I then work them through the process of, getting admitted, and what that looks like, getting your classes or getting them on campus so they can see what we have. A lot of girls, if they're looking at our school, even maybe come to our meets sometimes if they're around or they're close and they can do that. But recruiting is a little bit different for me than it is maybe for some other sports where you're going after a specific athlete. Like I tell my recruits that I'm talking to, we've signed our 8th one yesterday, and maybe we'll look at 5, 6 more. I'm probably not going to do 20 again this year, but just helping them and their families feel comfortable. This needs to be home for them. This needs to feel good. And so I've just been really, really lucky that girls that come here love it. And just like for Easter last weekend, some of them that live around here take home kids that are further away and wouldn't normally go home. I mean, they do a lot of stuff like that. They don't all live together on campus, but a lot of them do. So I just see great friendships being made and lifelong friendships. And I know that from my own kids. So I work with a lot of people, but I want them to go to where they are happy and where they want to be.
As a diving coach, what are some of the things that you look at in those prospective student athletes when out on the road recruiting?
At my stage of the game, I really look for hard workers. I'm going to say that. People that want to get in there. And so I tell athletes, if you come on and plug into our system and do the things that we do, you are going to get fitter, faster, stronger. Your dives are going to be better. Your races are going to be better. And we break records every year. So I'm not kidding. This is what we do here is we just get a little bit faster every year, and it happens incrementally. Right? I don't have a magic wand that I can just sprinkle fairy dust all and we're all happy. But just with the culture we have and with the friendly camaraderie of training for those relays, it just has made a really good atmosphere, good competitive atmosphere for us.
What does that official visit look like when those prospective student athletes come to Nebraska Kearney?
We have recruits come all the time. So sometimes it's official, sometimes it's unofficial. Sometimes they're actually in the pool, and sometimes they're just seeing the campus and they're meeting with their academic advisor and their financial advisor. And I sit down and talk to them. Usually I've always already talked to them on the phone, and perhaps their parents as well. So we just meet together, and they get to, put a face with the name. And typically when I let athletes know that I'm going to be meeting a recruit in the unit, they will stop by. you know, on their way to go to lunch or on their way to go to class, and they will hop in with their 2 cents worth, so to speak. And sometimes I bring tears to my eyes, Brandon. So I just feel like we have a really cool thing going on here in Kearney.
Of course, what is that like? Obviously, seeing those freshmen get to put on that Nebraska Kearney jersey for the
Yep.
for the first time.
Their cap. Yep. And I love handing them out, and they love putting them on, and that's just part of the, you know, they love gear, they love stuff. I do too. Maybe that's a girl thing. I don't know, but we like our stuff, so they get a lot of gear.
Of
I want
course,
to
as a coach, what is it like seeing them putting that cap on for the last time?
You know what? I'm losing 2 seniors that have been with me. Audrey's been with me for 4 years, and Ashley was a super senior. She took her 5th year. So it's tough for me to say goodbye, but we're also friends, and I've known them for, you know, a long time. Audrey, I watched her she's a Nebraska girl. So since she was little, I watched her swim. So, yeah, we have our season end meal together, and Audrey's getting married not very far in the future. So, you know, I'm always hoping for that wedding invite. You never know.
Of course, what is it like obviously seeing those swimmers go on and achieve great things after collegiately, whether it's in their profession or professionally swim for Team USA?
Yeah. It is it makes me feel good. They've worked hard for their degree. Many of them are either going into medicine or like teaching, which I have a strong heart for. But I've got a lot of medical people in my family, so I have a huge respect for that as well. UNK offers a pilot program. So I have one girl that is learning. She's actually done 2 or 3 solo flights. I mean, my gosh, that is just so cool. So I'm a huge advocate for women, and I help them along the way with whatever I can do to help them, whether it be an internship or shadowing or just connecting them. I've lived in this community my whole life, so I pretty much know everybody. So it is very heartwarming for them to come and tell me, oh my gosh, I got the internship, or I'm going to be an ambassador for our university. All of those things are great, and we celebrate them all. So yes, I'm very proud of them.
What are some of your future plans for the swimming and diving program moving forward?
I'm going to continue to strengthen our program. That's something that I really like to do, is leave a program in a much better shape than when I came on. So there are certain parts of it that we need to be stronger, like in different races where we could add people there or help the people that we have train for those different races and be stronger that way. And of course, improve the diving, just get stronger, harder dives. And of course, continue to fill in those spots of the people. Ashley's a diver, so we're losing one. So just continue to build. That's what I'm going to do, and have a very fun schedule. I have already got our schedule lined up for 23, 24, feel really good about it. So I'm excited, ready to go.
What advice would you give those high school swimmers that are looking to get onto the collegiate level?
You know what? I always encourage our athletes, our high school athletes, to go on. If you even think about it and want to do it, because you just can't come back 5 years later and say, oh, I think I want to do that. And now's the time. You got to just move into it and go for it. So I encourage them to try it. I know it's a big responsibility, you know, leadership and practice, and I know all of those things, but I'm flexible with working with our athletes here to make sure that they get enough time, family time and study time and class time and pool time, so we can make it all work. So that's kind of what I shoot for. But I always encourage high school athletes, go on and do it. And I will help them find a place if UNK we don't have a men's team right now. So I help our high school young men find a place, because I do compete against teams that have men. So I try to be as helpful as I can to get them to go on.
Of course, what advice would you give those collegiate athletes that are entering their first year of collegiate swimming and diving?
Don't take that heavy of a class load. You know, kind of get your feet wet, so to speak, and get in there. And I have a lot of girls that take a little lighter load that first semester, and it really helps them to feel confident about things. Then you can move into a little heavier schedule. But we stay on track with our professors. The professors at UNK want everyone to succeed, but especially athletes. They know that they're putting in extra work and doing extra things. So, but that's what I say is to just, and also we need to get a lot of sleep. We need to take care of our bodies, all of those things. So we work on that as a team to make sure that, because we do practice early. So you're going to be up early. So you need to go to bed early. And most of them have come from high school programs that do that. So they're familiar with that routine.
What advice would you give those collegiate swimmers that are looking to go compete professionally, whether it's for a club level or Team USA or Canada?
Correct. Oh, I would encourage them and support them 1,000% and would help them in any way I could to keep that going. I just love the sport, and I think it's done so much for my family, and I've seen how it's doing so much for the young ladies I'm working with now. So I would definitely encourage them if they have the opportunity to keep going, if they can do it and afford it. There's, that issue too.
Of course, what advice would you give those coaches that are looking to get into the sport of swimming and diving?
If they want to coach it, is that what you asked me?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know what? I really enjoy coaching, and I enjoy leading a team. I don't know that it's for everybody. I see a shift in coaching. I see people, it's kind of a revolving door sometimes. But I also see coaches, especially in the RMAC or some of the divisions that I've been in, that really, really love it. They love their sport. They love their athletes. And that's what is most important to me. I do have a couple of young ladies that are going on with their education. And in fact, my diving GA and the diver are both going into coaching. So, and they're both going to be great at it. You just really have to have a love of people, basically, because who knows what age you're going to be coaching. You don't necessarily know that when you get started.
That's
But they've both done a lot of coaching and helping me, so they've seen it from this angle.
That's great advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media along with the program at?
Oh gosh, the programming. Tell me what you mean.
Where can my listeners find the program at on social media?
So help me with that, because I'm not very good at that. So I have email. That's not what you're talking about.
Like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.
Dang it, Brandon. I don't do any of that. My girls do all that. So do I need to get with them and have one of them come back? Because we do have all that. It's just I don't run it. They do.
I'll just get it afterwards. You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Thank you again, Becky O'Connell, for your interview, and best of luck in swimming and diving.
Yes, and I wish you would have put that on my list, Brandon. I would have been more prepared for that. So I apologize.
Thank you again.
Yeah, thank you.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.